So apparently Gareth Evans and Gareth Edwards aren't the same person. Who knew? And this is made by Gareth Evans, the same guy who made The Raid and the VHS movies, and I haven't seen any of those, so I really didn't know what to expect. But I like Dan Stevens and Michael Sheen is great. And the poster for this thing looked pretty cool, so how bad could it be? Well, it's actually a bit of a mixed bag. Some things I really liked, other things I didn't really care for. First, the movie starts off pretty strong. We get this quick little title sequence with this eerie chorus type score that builds up and cuts to this beautiful sweeping shot. And then we learn that Dan Stevens has to go to this island, which turns out to be some sort of religious settlement. Oh, and this is in like the 1800s or something? I'm not really sure. And that's where this whole movie basically takes place, on this island, in this tiny little town, with this kinda creepy vibe to it. Now, right off the bat, I had some mixed feelings. First off, it looks kinda costumey. Everything looks run down and lived in, but it somehow still looks fake. It just doesn't look real, and I'm not exactly sure why. But I think it's just the lighting and the way it's shot. It looks a little bit too crisp for a kinda dark mystery horror thriller thing. It looks slick and it doesn't really fit the mood of the movie. Now that being said, there are some really cool shots in this movie. And the direction was actually excellent. And the score is pretty fantastic. I loved it. It reminded me of some other movie, but I'm not sure which one. It might have been Hereditary. Anyway, the score is great and the visuals look pretty cool. And the acting wasn't half bad. And the good stuff doesn't even end there. There are some really weird and creepy things going on in this movie. And I liked that a lot. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. But here's the problem. There's not enough of that. Of the weird and creepy stuff. Especially in the first 2 acts. As soon as he gets to the island, you get a little taste of it here and there. But then there's like 30-40 minutes of nothing but the main story. About Dan Stevens and his reason for being on the island. Really nothing creepy at all. And there's a few chunks like that, where there's really nothing that weird going on. Which probably wouldn't be an issue if I actually cared about the main story. But I didn't. It just wasn't very interesting to me. I was actually kinda bored by it. And I just wanted to get to the weird stuff again. Because that was actually really fun. And this is something you won't hear me say a lot, but this movie focused way too much on characters and plot. Because it's all so bland and cookie cutter that I wasn't engaged with it at all. Now the story of what's going on with the island itself and all that creepy stuff is a little bit more interesting. But I don't know. I don't feel like they did that much with that either. Like, oh, here's this weird thing that's causing all of this. And this is how it all happened. And they show you some flashbacks. And turns out it was a lot more interesting when you actually didn't know what was going on. Oh, and this thing does get pretty brutal and gory too. Especially near the end. You get all sorts of crazy fight scenes. And medieval torture devices. But I don't know. Some of that was pretty cool. But it was just serving a story that I didn't care about. And I ended up kinda just sitting there, not really caring or engaged. Which also made me realize that there's an entire plot line with this boy and this girl that could have probably been cut entirely. Now it did serve a purpose, but I don't know. It just kinda felt unnecessary and took way too much screen time. Now the end of the movie, it was fine I guess. I didn't mind it. I just don't know what the point was really. Was there a point? Something about religion and nature? I honestly have no idea. Either it was too subtle or too obvious. But anyway, somehow I apparently missed it. What I didn't miss though was a very brief moment near the end that still has me scratching my head. There's a scene, and this doesn't affect the plot at all, where a guy fires a shotgun at a stone wall and the wall catches fire. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I don't think that's how physics work. Case in point, the second shot. Same shotgun, same wall, no fire. Huh, interesting. I even went back and rewatched it. And apparently shotgun plus stone wall equals fire. Except when it doesn't. So as I said, a bit of a mixed bag this one. The direction is great. There's some cool visuals. The score is fantastic. and I really enjoyed some of the weird and creepy stuff. But there's not enough of that, and the story itself didn't hold my attention. So would I recommend it? Maybe. It might be worth a shot. I could see people enjoying it. So go watch it, I guess. Or don't. I'm not your dad.